Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Crones. This is my fourth edition of Crones. Um, the reason that I started Crones is because I feel like women of a certain age, meaning over 50, suddenly become invisible and irrelevant to society as a whole. I'm not saying it, everyone feels that way, but as a whole, that's kind of the way it feels. Um, so I started this to show people that women over 50 are more than just babysitters or housekeepers. We do amazing things, and we're here. I'm here to prove my point today is Jean Cavanaugh from Crossing Hedgerows. Hi, Jean.
Hi.
So thank you for joining me today. Welcome to Crohn's. So we're just gonna get right in there. How old are you today?
I'm 57. I'll be 58 later this month.
Okay. Well, you got a birthday coming up. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Uh, Premature, but that's okay. Um, and how do you feel at this time in your life?
I feel great right now. I did go through some pretty rough times, um, but I have been able to make some significant lifestyle changes that has helped a lot.
Okay.
So I'm feeling really good now.
You started a new program, didn't you? Sort of um a, a dietary. You had to, the way you explained it to me a while back was you had to start from scratch, basically. There were only a few things that you could eat, and then you kept adding things to it.
Well, it's partly dietary, but it's really very multi-dimensional.
Okay.
There's uh, there's meditations, Kundalini meditations.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah, and it's also very much focused on our beliefs. And the program is through a holistic psychiatrist. She's the
Oh,
person who actually developed it, and she talks about how our beliefs are more powerful than any pill. And so
oh,
um, the
okay.
combination of realizing that we don't have to be victims and that our bodies are always on our side, and so the things that we perceive as symptoms are really just our bodies trying to express something to us as far as what we might need to change, or if we're self-abandoning, for example. Everything plays into it. There is also the diet component.
Mm-hmm.
um, Kelly Brogan talks about how when people came to her, it seemed that it was always a certain um, type of diet that most of these people were on. So
Okay.
for many of us, being vegetarian is not helpful. It doesn't, not to say that not everybody has this issue, but for many people, it it really is not supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sorry if I'm going on too long.
No, no, no. It's very interesting. Now, this is a program that you are a part of, or a group, or um.
It's a 44-day lifestyle um, program that you go through as kind of an initiation.
Okay.
And the diet part of it is basically as you were mentioning, um, a, I'm sorry, can't think of the words, but where you take everything down to a baseline,
Okay.
and then you do slowly add things back
Okay.
to see how you react to them. But now I have become a certified coach for that program so that I
Okay.
can lead other people through it, to be able to experience the degree of um, healing that happens for many, many people that go through it.
Okay. What's the name of the program?
It's called Vital Mind Reset. However, my particular presentation of it is a part of a larger program that is my particular magic
Okay.
added to it. And so that,
Nice.
yeah, that's program is called Connecting to the Magic Within.
Oh, I like that. That's very nice. That's and you just started that not that long ago. Is
It
that
was
correct?
that the coaching, yeah, I just started recently.
Okay. That's wonderful. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I am. I right now I'm just doing some one-on-one coaching and will eventually do a group program where people can come out to the farm and
Mm.
um, be able to experience being together and going through it together because there's a particular magic that happens when you go through it as a group as well. Kind of
Okay.
an alchemy that occurs.
Just to let everyone know, Jean owns a farm, would you say? I wouldn't call it a farm. It's called Crossing Hedgerows. Am I
Farm,
correct?
yeah, Crossing Hedgerows Farm and Sanctuary. And so we are, we grow native crops, native plants as crops, as well as we have a rewilding nature sanctuary nonprofit that we are building community around.
It's a beautiful place. It's just a beautiful place. I remember going there maybe, I think it was before I moved out here where I am now. Um, and the first time I was there, it was, you didn't have a lot going at that time, and you were talking about what you were doing, and it didn't look like much was growing. It didn't like, and so I didn't really understand what you were saying or what you were talking about. And I went, okay, well, and then coming back, I think about a year ago, and to see the difference in it just took my breath away. It's beautiful. It's very interesting. She has a huge, how many acres do you have?
There's 20 acres altogether.
20 acres. And she's got a wooded area with trails, and she does nature walks as like I do, but she points out the plants in her area. Um, you have some I don't have the plants that you have. I don't, you've got more woods than I do, so I think that could be why. But you've got more moisture too, I think, back there.
Yeah, yeah, and we started planting 10 years ago and we planted we we spent a year just really planting hundreds of trees and shrubs,
Oh, okay.
plants, and so at the beginning it didn't look like much. When we moved to our property, it was just a lawn basically with a few trees,
Mhm.
and then a conventionally grown field in the front, and then back behind the woods
It
and
was
such.
farmed, right? They farmed
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, it was the conventional corn soy rotation tilled.
Okay.
And so now it looks completely different since we've.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I didn't mean to say that it wasn't like I didn't understand what you were talking about at that time when I first saw it. I mean, oh, okay. But then I mean, what you have done, it shows. It's just beautiful. So if there's any time that you would like to go and view it, um, Jean can give some, if you don't mind, give some sort of contact information so that people can come and maybe schedule a time to come out and see your place,
Mhm,
because
yeah.
people need to see this place. They just need to see it. They'll learn so much, and it just inspires you to do better as far as um, bringing back indigenous plants to the area and healthy indigenous plants, and just being good stewards to the planet, really. It's a lovely place.
Thank you. And I'll just also say that my husband and daughter have put in tons of work also. It's not just me, so
Oh, no,
done it
no.
together.
Your daughter is amazing in her knowledge of the plants, and she knows all of the um I don't know what the family or Latin names of them, and the proper names. Um, and it just astounds me. You have to see this place. It's just in the family is a lovely family that really cares about what they're doing. So,
Thank you.
you have your Hedgerow Farms, um, and you have your husband and two kids.
Yeah,
Two kids, okay,
daughter and son.
okay. And how long have you lived at this place, or at Hedgerow Farms? How long have you been there?
It is now 11 years.
Okay. Well, you've
Mhm.
done a lot of work to it to get it where it is. It's just a beautiful place. So, you did give me some information about you growing up. So we're just going to go back a little bit, and because this is a journey of how you are, or how you got to where you are at this time. And so, what were your parents like? It says that your father was a minister.
Yeah, so originally when I was a baby, my parents were missionaries, and
Okay.
so we moved to Kenya when I was 4 months old, and I was there for the first 4 years of my life. And
Wow.
yeah, and then we came back to the States, and my dad was ha- became a minister of a church. And so then throughout my childhood, we um, kind of moved to some different places, all in Michigan, though, where my dad
Mhm.
was minister of various churches.
Okay. And was your mom a teacher?
At that time, well, when they were missionaries, she was a teacher,
Okay.
and then she was doing the um, I don't want to say duties, but she was a minister's wife, and like doing things like playing the piano for the church and
Mm.
raising her kids. She was a preschool teacher for a little while during that
Okay.
time. Later, when um, I left for college, um, my parents did they actually ended up separating,
Oh.
and she got a job as a biology teacher, because
Oh,
she
okay.
had a degree in biology. And
I love
so,
biology.
yeah, so she did that for many years after that.
Okay, well, good. So you had a lot of spirituality growing up.
Hmm.
And it says that you wore a lot of different hats in that area. Um, uh, Evangelical Christianity, and then you went to college and you got involved in atheism. Is
Well,
that correct?
it was kind of as I was in college, I was exposed to a lot of different ways of thinking. And
Yes.
the way I look at it now is I kind of threw out the baby with the bathwater,
Okay.
sort of thing. It was like I went from one way of looking at things completely to a different way. And I think when you're young, you just sort of have this tendency to be a little extreme in your views.
Yeah, I think so too. I think everybody is guilty of doing that on any type of topic that you want to talk about.
Mhm.
You tend to go from one extreme to the other. Oh, I'm never, and it is true. It's just that's youth, you know, that's learning. And eventually you come to the somewhere in the middle, and you're you've learned a lesson, or you got something out of it. Hopefully, anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one brother and two sisters.
and sisters.
Mhm.
Okay. Um and then how was that? With your did you live on a farm or did you live in the city or
We mostly lived in small towns. Well, actually, it was all small town areas. And so we lived in the parsonage.
okay.
And my mom did like to garden, and so um, at most of the places we lived, she had a nice garden that she kept going.
So did you work with your mom on the garden? Did you
At that
help her out?
time, I really hated it at that time. For me, it was just like, oh, go and weed the garden, and
It's
I didn't
torture.
like it. It was, yeah, I didn't like it at all, and I wasn't interested in plants or anything like that. Well, yes, actually, I really did love plants. I had house plants in my bedroom that I loved.
Oh, okay.
Um, but
That's
it,
unusual for a teenager or how old were you when you had the plants?
yeah, when I was a teenager,
A teenager, yeah. That's unusual for a teenager to have plants in their room. So that's
yeah,
pretty good. That's pretty good.
yeah, I think it was more like the way it felt being given the task of weeding just felt like a chore. And then also, whenever we would go for walks or anything, my mom would like, because she was a biologist and a botanist, really, she would tell us the Latin names of everything we were going by, and we'd be like, Mom, can we just go for a walk? But that stuff really did sink in. And she was also a forager, and her mother taught her to
Oh,
forage.
wow. See,
And
she
so
sounds,
it got passed down, and her mother learned it because she was a child during the Depression, and um, her she and her brother had been abandoned by their dad with their mother, who had been hit by a train and only had one leg.
oh
And
my gosh.
so her mother had been a school teacher, but then this accident happened and their father left, and they were extremely poor. And my grandmother actually learned to forage in order to survive the depression. And
Wow.
so she had to go out in the woods and figure out how to find food. So that got passed down. And I think also just the idea that, one, that nature can supply us with what we need,
Hmm. Oh,
and
yeah.
also that systems can fail. So don't be too dependent on, you know, the systems to take care of us,
Yes.
because
Yes.
things
That's
happen.
that's a lesson. Now, that's a lesson that's been handed down from generation to generation.
Yes.
That's so lovely and interesting, because that will be passed down and it'll be passed down to your daughter and so on and so on. It's a family thing, an experience that's kind of ingrained or I don't know how, like indelibly imprinted in your history.
Yeah. So actually, my daughter now forages, and she's better at it than I am. She's better at um, identifying plants than I am, because she it's so interesting. She's the one that really brought me back to it when she was little. She just, she loved anything to do with being out in nature. And so she and my mom would go on these long walks, and my mom
Mhm.
would teach her all about the things. And then she would come back, and I wanted to participate in it with her and see things through her eyes. And
Mhm.
so it's really just this multi-generational mother-daughter thing that's been going on.
That's lovely. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Is your mother still alive?
she's not. She
Oh,
passed away.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sorry for your loss.
thank you.
That's sad. But her memory lives on
Absolutely.
with you and your daughter. That's such a great, wonderful thing that she passed on to you. What a gift, huh? It's lovely. So, so really just an average normal childhood, pretty much. You went to high school and you went to college. What college did you go to?
I went to Central Michigan University.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And what was your major?
I had a double major. I majored in anthropology and history.
Okay.
So,
Mine was I had three focus. For my degree was anthropology, sociology, and urban planning because I thought the three would go together.
yeah,
I never got any work in it. I was a late bloomer. I didn't start until I was in my 40s, but I should have started earlier. But
that's all
it happens when it happens, right?
right. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So you were young when you went to college.
Yeah, I went right from high school to college.
Is
Um,
that how you met Dan?
I actually met him in high school.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
we were high school sweethearts, and
Uh-huh.
we ended up going to the same college and got married a couple years in, um, and then finished college after we were married.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now with Crossing Hedgerows Farms?
Um, so if we go back to the anthropology thing for a second,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I realized a little while after I graduated was that I really I loved the lifestyle of kind of previous ages, previous times.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like there's so much wisdom in past cultures and ancient times, as well as uh, I should say indigenous um, wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So even like our own indigenous past, which we all have.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of I feel like I've brought everything together in the way that I approach my spirituality, which is with uh, um, I mean, I think most people who are watching this understand about the pagan
Mm-hmm.
spiritual viewpoint, and so I've come to that as sort of my home in
Mm-hmm.
spirituality, and so we have a nonprofit that kind of revolves around the land, rewilding the land, as well as offering pagan celebrations and gatherings and that type of thing, as well as the permaculture, regenerative agriculture aspect of things. Um, but sort of bringing that all together is in going forward is where I'm starting to do programs where I kind of combine all of those aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And I've realized through my own health journey that really everything begins with our own inner health. And then, so like in permaculture, we look at zones. Permaculture is a type of regenerative agriculture. And we begin with the closest to ourselves. And if we start with ourselves, that you can't get any closer than that.
Yes.
Um, then we move outward into, our home spaces, and then, our yards and outwards. But
Okay.
because we can't put ourselves into things out in the world when we're really kind of a mess inside.
Mhm.
And I've come to the realization that um, it's I'm trying to think of how to say this. There's an order of operations, I guess. I guess that's what I've been saying. Um, and
Right.
so,
Like steps to take.
yeah, like creating. Um, well, part of it is that we really look at ourselves in a very materialistic way. Um, and I think those of us who look at things more esoterically will understand that when we look at ourselves more from the spiritual perspective, then our bodies, for example, are not something that need to be fixed, that have like that are breaking down and need like a mechanical something to take care of us. And putting chemicals in our body is the same as like putting chemicals on the land. So
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
yeah, so like all the pharmaceuticals and things, it's really the same. Like we're not being organic in our own bodies when we're
Mhm.
doing that. And so trusting that we have divinity within ourselves, and we have an inner healer within ourselves, and being able to clear um, the things that are blocking us, so that we can be in touch with that inner healer
Mhm.
and understand how to access the divine within ourselves. Then we can hear where we need to change things, or
Mhm.
um, what is causing us the distress and the disease in our body, um, and
Is
coming
this
at it from that perspective.
is this what you do as a coach?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it's the combination of, starting with that and then working outwards, because in our homes, we're also bombarded with so many toxins. And we could say, we could go into victim consciousness, and we could say, you know, all these industries and uh, industrial agriculture and all these things that are putting toxins everywhere, and we're so helpless and we have nothing we can control over that. But we really do. We have a lot of control over what um, products we use in our house.
Mhm.
uh, every time the
Oh,
every time we get sirens going by, he's got to join.
what's
He's
his
got a little
name?
bit of wolf in him.
You can see that. What's his name?
Django.
Django.
Yeah.
He's adorable. Hi,
Yeah.
Django. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So,
So,
um, so yeah, so like even our household cleaners and, you know, our health, our beauty products and all that kind of thing, it they really have like they have an impact as each little thing builds on each other type of other thing.
mhm,
And so when we can minimize um, all of the different areas that we're kind of polluting ourselves,
mhm,
and take control of what we have control over, and then you know there are detox there's a detox protocol that we also do within the program that I coach. Then putting all those things together, we can really reclaim our own health and
mhm,
be able to start hearing our own inner voice again once we've calmed our systems.
mhm,
And when we get to that point where we're able to really um, feel like ourselves again, then we're able to begin connecting with the land better and begin um, to to be more creative and to direct our attention outwards and do that um, with a vitality that isn't available when we're just feeling sick all the time and
mhm.
um, you know like a, a lot of things like autoimmune disorders and such are really just because of all of those toxins and things that are bombarding us.
Mhm.
So
So you do not just yourself personally, now your own body. You do everything. Your house, is that
mhm,
I'm getting, and so household, your own personal and um
personal care products and
personal care products, all of that stuff.
yeah.
So have you tried to like make your own products for like, do you do that or?
I do. I mean, I haven't gotten to the point where I make everything, but
Mhm.
so one of the things that I'm beginning is regular meetups where we can come and learn how to do these things together. And
Mhm.
so, for example, this Saturday I will be doing a meetup that the focus is on the element of water, and we're
Okay.
bringing together permaculture type skills, art, crafts, singing, music, and then you know these practical homesteading and health kind of skills. And so part of what we'll be doing for the meetup this Saturday will be under the theme of water, like what do we put in our water? And so we're going
Mhm.
to learn how to make our own laundry detergent because that's
Oh,
something I've been doing for quite a while now. And it's
you
really,
make your own laundry detergent?
yeah, and it's really
Okay.
easy. So um,
Okay.
that'll be one of the things that we'll be doing. So I'm really excited to be able to offer that as well.
Okay. We buy those they're sheets. They're not in a bottle. It's not bottle. It's
Okay.
laundry soap, but it's a sheet that you put in the washer, and you can even the container is recyclable, but you want to and I get that there's only so much recycling we can do. It's good that we recycle, but a lot of the stuff is not usable, or it goes somewhere where it's not supposed to, or things like that. It's not a foolproof plan by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and it's
So,
not even
mhm,
really just that. It's that so much of what is put into our personal care products and our cleaners are
mhm,
actually toxins because
mhm,
they're not they're really not regulated. So
No.
they can say that this is green and this is, you know, this and that, and this is healthy for you and all natural. But so many of those ingredients really aren't.
Mhm.
So it's what we're putting on us, and we're wearing it, you know, with our clothes and everything.
Yes. I used to be a health coach, and I always said, read the labels, read every label, see what's in it. It may say it's good, but it's not, you want to make sure what's, and this is just a small, in comparison to what you're doing as far as the whole thing, your whole personal care. This was just about diet, basically. But, how much sugar is in it, how much fat, and it might be low in calories, but it has a ton of all those calories are fat calories and it's saturated fat, that sort of thing. And I know I don't know what your dietary and how that works for you, but those were things that, like soda, that was on my top 5 things to never consume because it's so bad for you. It's bad for your teeth. It's bad for your digestive system. It's just a horrible thing, and all the sugar and anyway, don't get me started on that. But
Kindred spirits there.
what's that?
Kindred spirits there.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, so that's and now is this something that you're planning on doing in the future? This you're going to develop this more in the future or
Uh,
future plans?
well, it's started now, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's just going to continue and um, evolve probably.
Evolve, however it's supposed to evolve is what it's going to do.
Yeah.
That's how that's a good way to look at it. That's how I did it with my back here, the letting it rewild.
Hmm.
Just let it go the way you need to let it go. And
Yeah,
it's usually very successful, don't you think?
it really is. It's amazing how much will just grow on its own with the birds planting it and the wind
Mhm.
bringing it in. And sometimes if you just disturb the soil a little bit so that the seeds have a place to grab hold, that's all you need to do.
That's
Yeah.
I
It's
should do that. I have some milkweed that I'm desperately trying to move from where it's growing, which is the front of my house, right by the porch. And I don't want to take it out because I know that I see eggs, from the monarchs and little nibbles on it. And I've actually seen the caterpillars, eating the leaves on them. And so I don't want to tear it out, but I'd like to move it if I could. So I've been putting them in the back, but I didn't disturb the earth. And that's probably what I should do to let those seeds get way down in there and really, because there's tons of them, as you probably know. Those little pods are just filled with
yeah,
seeds.
yeah.
So I figured some way it should take, but it hasn't. I haven't seen any so far. Rocky took a bunch out back as well,
Okay.
um, just where we were rewilding it, not before the woods. And he's put some back there and just kind of spread it, laid it out there. So hopefully we'll see. I see it's just starting to come up in the front, so I should
Oh,
go back and check. I just want to move it because I don't want to get rid of it because I know how important it is. But I just want to move it a little bit. We'll
sure.
see. I don't know how it got there, but in the front, but it loves it there. So, you know, I guess I should just leave it and I call it a butterfly garden.
I have a feeling it will eventually spread. You'll have it. You'll have it in different places around.
Good, good. I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
So now, with your place, do you see a lot of wildlife? I'm sure you have a ton of it there. When we were there, we just did a Beltane celebration at Crossing Hedgerow Farms, and this was on Saturday we went and we did it. And it was lovely. It was lovely. But I saw back there some deer tracks. So I know, I mean, everybody's got deer, but I find them back in our back, but I never see the deer. Do you see them? You probably
Um,
do.
yeah, we see them occasionally. They do mostly stay back in the wooded areas. Um, like they come out, I'm sure, more at night into
Yeah.
the other areas. But yeah, we have a lot of things, a lot of different creatures, raccoons, possums, fox, coyotes, turkeys, squirrels. I mean, like all of the the usual suspects that you would see around in
So
a
the
more.
trees, just going back a little bit, you talked about planting all the trees. That's not the woods, is it? That you're
No,
talking about?
no.
Um, but the coming closer in towards the road, all of that area.
Yeah, so we have a food forest area that we've planted around all around the house area and
Okay.
kind of out, back towards the greenhouse. And so that's also part of what I do with my workshops and things, is I show how we've created our food forest and, the different guilds, that are there. They're not all native plants. So, for example, we have a peach tree guild with supporting, um, plants around that, um,
Okay.
and apple and pear, and you know, so that's a whole,
Those are not,
a whole setup.
are they in, as an apple tree? Are apples indigenous? They're not, are they? Are they
No,
indigenous?
no.
They, did they come from, I want to say, Japan or China or something like that?
I actually think they came, and I could be totally wrong, but, like the Caucasus area or something. I'm just remembering from way long time ago. But
Okay.
then like Johnny Appleseed or something came and
Yeah,
bought
then
them
he
all
came
and
along and
planted them everywhere.
planted with his pan on his head. That was his hat.
Yeah,
He had a I remember seeing a picture of him with a pan in his head, barefooted, and he was spreading John apple seeds around.
yeah,
Oh well. So that's your future at this time. That's what you're planning to kind of, you're actually doing a lot of different things. Sounds like that you've got a lot of stuff going on that's keeping you really busy. And like you say, all of this stuff will help you evolve,
yeah,
help your cause or whatever to evolve into whatever it's supposed to do. It sounds like it's really developing very nicely though.
yeah. I enjoy wearing various hats. I get
I
kind
like
of
that too.
bored if I'm doing the same thing all the time.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's nice you have different interests. You can go from one thing and work on that and then move to another thing and not be doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah, and building community is really important to me.
Yeah,
That's kind of a through line with everything that I'm doing.
yeah. Now you are on oh, what's that called on YouTube? Do you do anything on YouTube?
No, I don't.
But you have what is that for support?
Um, Patreon, is that what you're?
Patreon, yes, you have
Yeah,
Patreon, don't you?
yeah.
So yeah, if anyone's interested in donations or joining, right?
Yeah, that's the place
Um,
where we kind of put out all of what we're doing and keep everybody up to date. And, um, people can join at different levels depending on your interest level and how much you want to get involved.
yes, so you can, it's and what is it? Just Crossing Hedgerow Farm?
It's
They would
Crossing Hedgerows Sanctuary.
Sanctuary, okay, Crossing Hedgerow Sanctuary on Patreon. And if you want to join, if you're interested in joining, she has different levels, like you say, you have different levels of um, membership, kind of, I would say, right?
Yeah.
It's like a membership. So check it out. It would be pretty, there's a lot of interesting things going on there that can be done. So,
Yeah. We actually also rent out our space. So that's also an option for people wanting to have events. Right now, we're really only set up for small events,
mhm.
just due to parking availability and things like that. We have a composting outhouse that is
Yes,
available, and
that is very interesting too. Her composting outhouse. It's excellent.
thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
there's so much to see there. It's a very interesting place. It's wonderful. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, I mean, I was pretty much done with that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun and very interesting, and we'll be doing this again, just to keep up and or catch up and see how everything's going, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, thank you, Jean. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this or watching it. Um, have a wonderful day. Oh, and if you like it, you can click on like and subscribe too. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye. I gotta stop this, and I always have a hard time. Oh, stop reading. Okay. I think I'm done recording. Okay. No, it's still recording.